Hey guys, it's Deke,
And Will.
and we're here to talk to you about religion. No, we're going to talk to you about fitness, and specifically why we've made this channel. So, for me, I feel like there's a lot of things out there really conflicting and confusing people,
Sure.
and we just kind of want to demystify that a little bit. I know Will gets very, very angry about the way that the fitness industry kind of makes money off confusion because I think it's kind of planned. You know, what do you think?
Oh, for sure. I mean, like every time something new comes out, there's always 5 minutes later a new business has started to make profit off of this type of confusion and type of misdirection. And I think there's very rarely something that comes out that's deliberately planned to do that. There's a lot of the time they do genuinely believe in what they're doing, but the people that are selling the products are confused as well. And anything can work. It's just when people get this like cult-like mentality about their specific way of doing things, and then they just go, "That's it. This is the only way. We finally found this silver bullet that works for everybody." You know, whether it be plant-based, keto, the carnivore diet. That's the thing right now. You know, people find this thing that works for them, and they say, "That's it. This is the only way for anyone to do it." And I think that's a very toxic mentality, and it confuses a lot of people.
Yeah.
You can't possibly have the two existing beliefs that a high carb diet and then a keto diet are the only ways to do things.
Yeah, and it works for two people.
It'll work for different people. But I think it's mainly, I believe that the only reason it works for these people is because it's the thing that they believed in, so they can follow it consistently.
Yeah, compliance.
Compliance is king.
Yeah, so I suppose we just want to talk a little bit about different approaches. I mean, the most, as Will said, compliance is king. The most important thing is finding something that fits with you and fits with your goals. So, you know, if you're just wanting to build muscle and burn fat, powerlifting might not necessarily be the thing you want to go down. You know, it really depends on A, what you can do, and B, is it going to get you to where you're going? So that's the whole point. We're trying to boil it down to super basic ways of looking at things and understanding how that affects you and why you would want to do that, or maybe why that won't help you that much, depending on what we're talking about.
Yeah, and just we'll probably pick a topic with either every podcast or every couple podcasts where we just really hone in on one specific thing, and then we'll just say, is this going to work? Is this an effective way of doing things? And our opinions on it. We're not always going to be right. You know, I mean, the amount of times I've told someone something and it's wrong, and I have had to correct that later down the track all the time, right? We're always learning, always finding new ways of doing things and finding out that the way we have been doing things may not that it's wrong, but it may not be the most optimal way of doing things.
But again, being optimal doesn't really matter. Like it matters if you're an athlete, but if you're somebody who's just looking to get shredded or, you know, get a bit bigger or all that sort of stuff, what is optimal is something that's sustainable, right?
Exactly.
I was actually talking to Will today about with training, the first step is to really actually build the habit of training and getting used to doing it, right? Because once you get into it, then the goals coalesce and you understand your path. But the first step with anything is understanding what you're trying to do and understanding how to do it, right? And that's something we'll cover. Obviously, there's a lot of mentality stuff. There's obviously technique stuff when you come to training. There's a lot of stuff like that out there. And we really just want to demystify the process for people and make it easy for you to slot in, not be daunted or, intimidated by going into the gym and seeing all these buff people working out and thinking, I'm never going to be that person. You know, you just got to follow the process and you got to understand what the process is. And we really want to be there to help you guys with that.
And I think, you know, there are a lot of podcasts or YouTube videos like this, and we're by no means saying that they're not doing a good job or anything like that. We just feel that there's, again, a lot of confusion and a lot of dogma in the fitness industry, and we just want to do our part to say, like, very much lay out the facts. This is what we do. This is what we found to work. Whether that works for everyone else, and, you know, whether other YouTubers and things like that have a different approach, that doesn't matter. It's just about what we found works.
Yeah. And we also want to talk a little bit about, I suppose, our journeys, because I think with fitness, it's important that we're honest with where we're at and what we're doing. So we don't want to be saying anything and then be doing something opposite. We want to be talking about what we believe in and then walking the walk as well. So as we go through and we get to know each other a little bit more throughout the years, I'm sure you'll become fully acquainted with how it looks, how it looks like to start from square one and then go all the way to where you want to do. I mean, even Will and I are at different levels with our fitness journey.
Well, so probably a good opportunity, maybe just to express where you're at right now and what you are hoping to achieve in the next 2 years or
yeah, sure. So for me, I think one of the big things was I was very heavily influenced by things I read. Now, obviously, you can only be influenced by what you learn, right? And I kind of looked at this thing and I'm like, oh, I don't want to be like, these egotistical, muscle-bound people. So I never lifted heavy, or I never did a proper hypertrophy program for a very, very long time because I was afraid of being essentially that jerk, right? It wasn't even a physical thing; it was a mental thing, and it took me back. It held me back for so many years, and I've kind of gotten to the point where I understand what I need to do now. And I'm hungry. I'm ready for it. I'm past the phase where I'm starting to build the habit of working out, and I'm to the phase where I just need to do the work, which I'm excited about because the path is coalesced, right? It's simple. I know what to do. Now I've just got to do it. But there was a long, long time where I was listening to what other people think you should look like, what other people think you should be doing, all that sort of stuff. And it's too much.
And honestly, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head where you're saying you were doing the wrong thing or not the optimal thing for a very long time. And now you have the path. You know it's not going to happen overnight, but it takes that time to set in a good program, having realistic expectations of what you can actually achieve in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and not getting disappointed because in one phase you haven't completely changed your look. That's what a lot of people do. They sign up for 6 weeks and I've only lost X amount of weight, or I've only put on X amount of weight, and they get disappointed and then they quit.
Yeah.
And they don't realize the compounding effect of results over periods of training programs.
Or even worse, you go in and you train and you put on 2 kilos, right?
That does happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, we kind of want to talk about the mechanics of things and break that down. What about you? What about where you were?
Yeah. So, as you know, I'm 1 and a bit weeks out of my first powerlifting competition. I wanted to do physique. I never wanted to do powerlifting, but I've got a few friends that do powerlifting, and I've coached a few clients through a powerlifting competition. They've done really well, and I just got converted to the dark side, and I'm absolutely loving it. So yeah, I'll obviously complete that competition, see where I'm at, and then I'll be going through my perpetual mass gaining phases. Obviously it'll be happening like that for years. I'll be trying to gain a few kilos a year of muscle mass and stay lean at the same time, and also compete in a few more powerlifting competitions.
Yeah, and the important thing, I mean, this for me is important because I have a lazy way of approaching things until I actually understand what I'm doing. With working out, I used to always think I'm never going to be that person who comes in and works out all the time, but it's not really like that. It's building a habit, Imagine if you never brush your teeth. If you never ever brush your teeth, suddenly you have to brush your teeth every night. It's like, I'm never going to be that person. It sounds like a stupid comparison, but really is like that. The amount of well-being, physical, mental, emotional well-being you get from training it will become part of your life once it's part of the routine.
Yeah, and I think people get sick of hearing it because a lot of people that don't train seem to think they look at people that do train 4 to 6 times a week and they're like, they're freaks.
Yeah.
Freaks of nature. They're not freaks of nature. It's simply that, exactly what you were saying, just changing the habits and changing the reward systems in your own brain. So if you associate the gym with nerves, pain, fear, and things like that, you're never going to want to go, right? And you can't change that overnight. But then what happens after repetitive training over a long period of time, you start changing your association with the gym from fear and pain to pleasure by having getting closer to your goal body.
Yeah.
Start seeing the results, and then all of a sudden, your association in your brain is now gym equals pleasure.
Yeah.
And gym equals goals.
And even then, after a good workout, you feel better.
Oh, for sure.
You're ready for the day. But again, this might sound alien to some of you. Others, you might be like, yeah, I get that. So that's just where we're at. There's a few different things that we're really wanting to get on this channel and get across to people. But you will see that in due course. For those people who've stuck around and listened to the whole thing, hope to see a lot more of you, and take care.
See you next time.
Happy New Year.
Well, that was shit.